Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to be here, and it's an honor to be here and to be able to talk and to share some of my views, some of my thoughts with you, and to discuss some of the things. You know, the topic of today is equality in sport, and you know, it's already like something is a bit wrong with this phrase, because if everything was okay, we shouldn't talk about equality. And if we have to talk about it, and if this topic is interested for the public, for the society, then it means there are some problems. So I don't want to put it in a negative way, but I want actually to talk about, well, equality in sport, in particular, what is the situation, and about equality in chess. So let's talk about where and in which direction the situation is equal, and where men and women have more or less equal possibilities. And let's also talk about in which directions it's totally unequal, and it's very, very far from equality, to be honest. And I would like to start my speech with a short story which was told to me by my friend, who is a chess player, who is a strong chess player, grandmaster. And it happened nearly 1 year ago. So the story is the following. About 1 year ago, my friend, he had a meeting with one famous economist. And they started talking about different things, and this economist is a respected person in his field, so a good chess player met one good economist. They started talking, and they were talking about different things, and at some point they started talking about chess. And so this economist asked my friend, what is the situation in chess? Who is better, men or women? And for a chess player, it was quite a surprising question, and the chess player, my friend, he didn't want to answer immediately. He asked him in return, what do you think? And the answer of that question, of that man, he thought for a while. He didn't answer immediately. And after some time, he said, I think women, given the reason that chess is a creative game, and in his opinion, women are more creative, so logically they should be better. And you know, this story made me think about 3 important points. Okay, the first point is, of course, that it's totally the opposite. Men are now dominating, and they are much stronger, like top male players are much stronger than top female players, and we will talk about it. The second point is that despite of so many people knowing how to play chess, nearly 10 years ago, the president of International Chess Federation provided some statistics where it says that back then, 10 years ago, 600,000 million people knew how to play chess. Can you imagine this number? Well, this number, of course, can be arguable, questionable, and the research, how it was made, but let's not talk about that. It's clear that many people all over the world know how to play chess. But despite of all this, they are not so much familiar about the situation in chess, like who is leading, who is the world champion, and so on. And the third thing is that actually I knew about, but this case was just a proof that many people have a wrong perception of the game and how they see the game. And we will also talk about it. I will also talk about it in my speech a bit later. So let's start with the statistics. Leoncha has already said that right now there is no single woman in the top 100. Like, I think world number 1 among women is right now nearly world number 120 in the overall rating list. And there was only one woman in the history of chess, and the history of chess is very, very long, who managed to make it to the top 10. Only one woman. Her name is Judith Polgar. And there were, I don't know how many exactly, but I would say nearly 10, more or less, who managed to make it to top 100. For example, when I was world champion, and I was clearly world number one among women in rapid and blitz disciplines, I was nearly number 75, 80 in the overall rating list. So this already shows that the difference is quite huge, and men are dominating. And now we are coming to the next question: what are the reasons for that? Yeah, and of course there are many reasons. Very often I am asked why it's happening, why men are stronger. So let's do it one by one, and I will share my thoughts. And it's not only my thoughts, but they will be based on my own experience and also on the conclusions to which I came up talking to some players, and also I will tell you a little bit about their views and people who are actually sharing the same views. So the first and the most obvious reason which we cannot argue about is the numbers. We don't have a total number of players, we can't say like how many men and how many women in the world can play chess. But it's very clear that men will win this competition with a big score, because in my history, in my career, I have never in my life entered a chess club or chess school or any chess course where I saw there are more girls than boys. So it's clear that if you have more boys, then later on they will be dominating. And it's actually, well, this problem didn't arise today. It has been going through many years, and people are trying to solve that. So right now we hear many statistics which are based on online chess platforms, and they are all claiming that the number of women, the number of girls is increasing, and all this is very good, all this is heartwarming, and this is good. What can be done? Of course, here the solution is very clear. We should try to attract more girls to the chess clubs, and so that they meet chess and they get interested. How to do that, you may ask? Well, here, of course, there may be different solutions, but first of all, and I think one of the most important ones, let's start with the following. That no matter if it's a girl or a boy, I think chess is a very, very good discipline and very interesting tool, which will help you later on in your life, no matter if you will become a chess player, if you will later on continue in a professional way or not, it will still help you in your life, in different things. There have been many researches which proved that those kids who are attending chess clubs, chess courses, they are studying better at school. Because chess develops many good and important qualities, such as they are developing memory, they teach you how to manage your time, how to analyze, how to predict what will happen in the future, like a few moves ahead, how to play fair, how to respect your opponent, and many others. Concentration is also one of the important ones. So whenever I have an opportunity, I always try to recommend, if you have girls, and I think many of you have children, who are girls, or your relatives, really, it's very advisable that at least once they try to go to to a chess club and try this game. Because, once again, even if you will not like it, it's not the problem, but at least give a try. But why sometimes it's not happening, I think, and what is also proved is, look, for me, I was quite lucky. It has been said I started to play chess at the age of 2. Okay, some signal. And it's not an exaggeration. By the age of 3, I already knew all the chess rules. My parents were chess teachers. And so I was always supported by my parents, and they were teaching me at home. Then they were also, my parents are were not only coaches for me, but they were working in the sports school, and they are still working there. So they were also working with the other kids. So they were also bringing me to chess club, where they took care that I feel comfortable. But I remember that when I was young, then there were lots of boys, and I don't even remember well, but definitely there were not so many girls. But I didn't feel this pressure because, I was supported by parents, and maybe when you're 3, 4, 5 years old, you don't even pay attention. Like if it's boys, girls, who cares? But I have heard quite many stories where, parents, they come with their daughter, and that this daughter enters a room and she enters a chess class and she sees, okay, I will be the only girl there, and they don't like it so much. Like somebody accepts that, but somebody doesn't, and this is very normal in both ways. So, but if more and more girls will come, they will not have this problem, and girls will feel more comfortable. So here, the things are more or less clear, how to increase the numbers. But there are also many other reasons when the situation is very difficult or maybe even impossible to change, and where men have clear advantage. And in my opinion, this actually plays the most important role why men are stronger in chess. And the first one I would like to mention is the physical shape. You may be a bit surprised because you will say, chess, physical shape, what are you doing? Many people think it's the game where it only matters how your brain works. Somebody thinks it's about creativity. Somebody thinks about something else, like it's just a game. But in reality, physical shape in chess, and especially the higher the level is, it matters a lot. Pieces are not so heavy, and lifting them is not so difficult. But the problem is that chess requires the investment of lots of time and lots of energy. And the point is that, for example, for me, I started to play chess early, and since the age of, 5, 6, I had been training like 5-6 hours per day, every day. And this is difficult because girls and women, we simply get tired faster. So just imagine if one day a girl is working 6 hours and the boy is working 6 hours, and then in the last hours the girl will get tired, she will work less efficiently. And if it's one day, maybe you won't feel it so much, the difference. But if it's lasting 1 month, 1 year, then in many years you will see a big difference. And this is already proved because when we have youth championships, and now the youngest category is under 8, so it's already when boys and girls go to compete, already in the category under 8, we see that boys are stronger than girls. So somehow I see quite a big connection to that, and like for example, top players, they always pay attention to their physical state, and they are trying to improve the conditions, their stamina, and so on and so on. The other point of view is, and the other reason is, of course, physiological and biological aspects. And here, if to put it shortly, we can just say that women are more emotional, and for chess it's not good. And men are better concentrated and can be more focused. That, of course, gives them some advantage. And also, of course, we know that, well, there are some days when women, we don't feel well. And basically, you will have this day on every tournament you play, because the classical tournament usually lasts 2 weeks. And, well, it's, you know, maybe sometimes you will escape, but very often you will be there. But during the tournament, you can't say, hey, guys, sorry, I don't feel well. Today I will not play. You have to go and play. So this already is some kind of disadvantage towards women, if I may say so. Another aspect is, of course, a psychological aspect. In my opinion, chess is not just a game. It's a sport, it's a fight, and men are better prepared for that. Because, you know, when boys are born, they are already born like warriors. And women, they have to develop these qualities. They don't have them inside of them. So this is also kind of disadvantage. And of course also social reasons. For example, while boys can be focused only on one thing, and in society this is kind of this can be kind of treated normally, yeah. Then girls are raised in a bit different way, and later on, when women are married and they have kids, of course, that takes a lot of time, and this is like a small minus for me, women, but a big plus in the other words, yeah? So all this, of course, there are some others, but I think this is already quite enough. All this gives a lot of advantages to men. And here we come to another very interesting and very, very important topic, which is, of course, tournaments and prizes. So what about that when it comes to chess? And here I can say that chess is quite a unique sport at the moment, and it has always been like that, where women are able to compete with men. So we have separate women tournaments, and we have so-called open tournaments where women are allowed to take part. So this is good, but on the other hand, now I would like to tell you that there is one thing which actually is a bit strange to me and a bit painful topic, when, you know, men starts complaining about that. That, you know, it's kind of, we are giving too many rights to women. They can play here, they can play there, they can win prizes here, winning there, so many rights, it's wrong. And these complaints never came from top chess players, because they know what it takes to get there and they feel this different. They always come from, let's say, players who didn't reach their best, who didn't fulfill their dreams, so they are trying, you know, to kind of, I don't know, just to find some arguments and to complain. But if, you know, given all the reasons that men have better conditions, then I think they shouldn't complain. And in reality, if we take tournaments, the difference in prizes between all these open tournaments and the women's tournaments is huge. For example, when it comes to the World Championship, the prize fund is 4 times higher. At the World Cup, it's 3 times higher. When it's an open tournament, sometimes there is a special women prize, but it's like 10 times lower, or sometimes it doesn't exist at all. And in general, the difference between top male players and top female players, well, top male players, it's enormous. They will earn nearly 10 times more than women, so, or even more. So the difference is huge, and you know, it's very difficult to change the situation. So what can be done? It's either we make it clear to everyone, yeah, and we leave the situation like it is. Yeah, women can play women tournaments, and women are also allowed to play open tournaments, but we give more support to women. Or we just abandon all the possibilities for women to compete in open tournaments, and there are just women tournaments, there are just men tournaments. So this is another solution. And this will actually, if we speak about this topic more, this will actually help a lot to women chess players, because right now, you can't imagine, but there are so many sponsors, or let's say people who are willing to sponsor the events, and they are only sponsoring men's events, or let's say open events. And when you have an opportunity to talk to them and you are saying, okay, you are doing a great job, it's a wonderful tournament, but why at the same time you are not sponsoring a women's event, which will cost you much less, but you will help women players more? And they are like, wait, why should we sponsor additional women's event if women can compete with men? And then when you come back through all this circle and you explain all the reasons that women are playing lower, and for us it's very difficult to get to these tournaments, well, basically it's impossible to get right at the moment to the top men's tournament, and you explain all these differences and why the situation is like that, and they are thinking, and then finally some of them agree that, yeah, it's like that. But then in that they say, okay, but since the situation is like this, and it's not clearly written like that, why it's like that, we will keep on this way. And we will just have an open tournament. And of course, for women, it's a minus, and it's very, very painful. So what else? The topic of equality or inequality is, of course, huge and very wide, and it can be spoken from many different angles, from many different points of view. It has been mentioned about my decision, not only mine, but my sister's, not to go to Saudi Arabia, and perhaps some of you have heard about my name since 2017, because in the end of that year, this story happened. So this is also, it was not an easy decision, but I don't regret it. And yeah, I skipped these tournaments, and I lost my world champion titles, and it's like that. And just because it was, you know, organized in a country where women's rights are totally violated, and I didn't want to go through all that and to obey all these rules, which men don't have to obey. So if we speak about the equality of, okay, if there are some rules for women, make some rules for men, or don't make for any, right? We can also speak about equality or inequality from a political point of view. Today is Europe's Day, and I am from Ukraine, and until the full-scale invasion started, I had been always living in Ukraine. And what kind of equality can we talk about when, while all the sportsmen all over the world, they can normally train, go to the tournaments, compete, and many Ukrainian sportsmen, sports coaches, they had to defend our country. More than 300 sportsmen and sports coaches have already been killed, and the war is not over. Lots of sports buildings, schools, clubs, they have been destroyed. So what kind of equality can we speak about here? There is just no equality. And yeah, we can talk long, but I'm not the only one here. And thanks for listening. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts. And let's give a floor to Olga.